Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today we've got a slightly different kind of webinar to the ones that you may have been in before. My name is Leanne Kenny. I am the Member Engagement Lead and I am joined today by Rowena Shue, who is our Policy and Government Relations Manager, and also lots of candidates who are standing for election on the UK Registry Advisory Council. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us today as well. So the format of today is slightly different. We have about an hour and a half scheduled because obviously we have a lot of candidates, which is wonderful, standing for election. And it's your opportunity really to find out a little bit more about the candidates and ask them the questions that you're interested in hearing the answers to. So format is the same as usual in terms of how you ask questions. Please use the raise hand function, which should be, if you open up your participants list, you should see the raise hand function at the bottom. There are a lot of people on this call and you are not all on the same screen. So please do not physically raise your hand because I may miss it. If you can stay on mute until the point where you're invited to actually ask the question, that would be really appreciated. And also, if when you ask the question, obviously we have candidates standing in the large category, the mid to small category, and also the secondary sort of independent category. So if your question is for a group in particular or a person in particular, please do specify that when you ask your question, and then we can make sure that we put it to the right people. Or indeed, if your question is a general question for all of the candidates, that's absolutely fine. I can make sure that we make sure that all of the candidates answer the question. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually invite the candidates to just do a quick 2-minute sort of introduction to themselves and a little 2-minute pitch, if you like, to just explain why they are standing for election. And we're going to go through the list alphabetically, and they've got 2 minutes to do their pitch. So we're going to start with Arnaud. Arnaud, if I can invite you to take yourself off mute and get us started, please.
Thank you, Liam. Good evening, all. Thank you, Nominet, for this opportunity to present our candidate statement. So I'm Arnaud Franquinet, I work with at Gandhi. Gandhi, it's 50 million in revenues, 50% done outside of France, 2.5 million domain names under management, more than 700 TLDs proposed to our clients. We are an independent international leader in the domain name industry for 20 years, and we are a pure register player. We promote an open internet for the benefit of all, and enjoy the strong reputation based on technological mastery, development solely by word of mouth, and attention to our customer with the Ensure customer care platform in Paris, Taipei, and San Francisco. We are present on the 3 segments: retail, reseller, and corporate accounts. The UK is our 3rd largest market, where we are over 20,000 customers, with over 120,000 .uk domain names under management, and we are the 11th largest members of Nominet. We are therefore very concerned by the success of the UK market and more broadly with Nominet's activities among our top 10 largest partners. So we are concerned by .uk and Nominet. Not half our UK clients ask us to be more involved and implicated in Nominet and .uk development. That is why we made the decision to join the UKRAC, a huge initiative to onboard all members, based on our large domain experience, but the recent experience at the board of AFNIC, the registry of .fr. The idea is to share this experience with the Nominet management team and to build the future of .uk. In the short term, it's about focusing on stability and committing all members to a common and agreed future path based on the safe, secure, and competitive .uk. I'm convinced that in a market dominated by the scarcity of .com, CCTLDs such as .ether or .uk can be an interesting alternative to establish an international online presence due to their strong and high reputation.
Okay, great. Thank you, Arno. You were slightly over, but I knew you were coming to the end, so I've let it go. Ashley, can I come to you next, please?
Hi there, can everyone hear me? I hope.
We can hear you.
Perfect. So my name is Ashley. I'm the Director of Domains at 2 Cows. And as a part of that, I manage the registry relationships that we have with registries large and small all around the world. With ASCIO and 2 Cows and Enom, we have registry relationships almost with every country. So CCTLDs are in our blood, and it's really important to us that they're run in a very transparent and efficient and secure manner, and in a way that's benefit to the communities that they serve. So that's one of the really important things that caused us to want to be involved here. I personally have 10 years of experience in the domain industry. I actually started at Mark Monitor. Before I moved over, I became the managing director of 2 Cows, or of EPAG, I'm sorry, and then became the director of domains at 2 Cows. So I've been in a number of different roles within the registrar business and know it in and out. What I'd like to accomplish with the RAC is to provide one more tool for members to affect change within Nominet, but then also to establish networks within members and across members. So it's not just a place for the members to talk to the board, it's a place for members to talk with each other. And I think in that position, it's really important that you check in regularly with members, not even just within your segment, but across the entire range of members. And I think that it's really important that we consider the needs of all member types. So I represent the large segment, but I think, you know, when I look at the business that we're in the wholesale business, and a lot of our customers for .com would be Nominet members. And so I don't look at a job within the RAC as just representing my own interests and the interests of 2 Cows, but rather looking at the interests of the industry and trying to understand them and represent them to Nominet. You know, we really want to create a culture of transparency at Nominet, and I think that starts with the RAC and starts with an open discussion within members, and then presenting that in a really transparent and reliable way to Nominet and the board. So I'm looking forward to lots of discussions in the future, and if anybody ever wants to get in touch, I'm more than happy to provide my contact details. I'll put that in the chat, and I look forward to lots of conversations in the coming weeks and in the coming years. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Ashley. Prudence, coming to you next.
Hi, hi everyone. Prudence Malinky from Mark Monitor here. Now I could spend my 2 minutes talking to you about my extensive experience and how I'm the best candidate for the job, but I'm actually going to do something a little bit different, so bear with me. Okay, so the past year has been incredibly difficult for absolutely every single person on this call, myself included. And I'm not just referring to what's happened at registry level over the past year with Nominet. I'm talking about us as individuals and as people. We've faced an incredibly difficult year. Now, in light of that, I know everyone's asking questions such as, can the advisory council, can it actually address all of the issues that Nominet are facing? Can it make things better? Can it clean my car? The answer is maybe yes, maybe not, definitely not to the car. But what it can do is it's a vital first step. It's a much needed first step in moving us away from what has been, what can only be described as a difficult year, and moving us towards the future of the UK Registry. And that's something that I'm genuinely keen to be involved with and to help and work alongside you on. Now, I'm from Mark Monitor, we're a corporate registrar. So that means we have a different voice and a different perspective. But I think now is the time when you're willing to embrace a diversity of a group, and that's what I'll bring to the mix, and that's what I'm offering. Now, I do have extensive experience, so this is a bit where I talk about me. I'm a member of various different advisory councils and advisory boards across the globe, including Belgium, Ireland, .eu, New Zealand. I even work at ICANN level on the Transport Policy Development team. So policy work is literally what I do. But all of my experience means absolutely nothing because the vote is in your capable hands. Now, if you can't tell by the inflection in my voice, I'm really genuinely keen to get involved and to start working with regards to policy work and to make things a little bit easier and also a little bit better for you and obviously for me and maybe even the registry as well. Now, this is the bit where I would be kissing a baby and I'd have a cute pose and there'd be a slogan in the background and I'd be delivering you the speech that you deserve.
No time for that.
There's no time for that. And also as well, I'm terrible at kissing babies.
Don't even think you're allowed anymore, are you, in this COVID era?
Right? But hopefully what I can do is help us take those first vital steps in moving us to the future of the registry. And I'm just gonna stop there.
Thanks, Prudence. Okay, Barbara, coming to you next.
There we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Barbara Sher, and I'm a candidate for one of the large member open positions on the RAC. I currently work for Newfold Digital, which is the parent company, the new parent company of Register.com, who's a longtime registrar partner of Nominet. Newfold Digital is also the parent company of Dreamscape and Crazy Domains, another Nominet partner, and now the Endurance International brands. We have offices and business units in the UK and globally. I have more than 10 years of experience in the domain industry. I've actively worked within retail and wholesale domains, aftermarket domains and auctions, which is where I came from, and domain reseller programs. I currently manage the large reseller base that consumes Nominet TLDs and makes up a significant percentage of activity. Additionally, I've been active in business development exercises, including those surrounding registry promotions, premiums, and reserve inventory. I believe in the value of .uk. I believe in the value of Nominet TLDs and in domains in general as being the foundation for all other online presence. That being said, I am extremely well versed in registry policy, ethics, and compliance. In terms of partnerships and collaborations, I've worked alongside of many of the companies and individuals on the Nominet member list. I've been an ICANN member for more than 10 years and have attended at least as many ICANN meetings. My reason for standing, it's not driven by a commercial motive, nor at the mandate of my employer. It's driven by my desire to become more engaged in the Nominet and the registry community in general. On a personal level, I've been active in several not-for-profit organizations, and I understand the challenges as well as the importance of maintaining the structure and the vision. With my experience, I can provide insight and be a voice representing a large registrar within the global domain ecosystem. And I also hope to help retain the integrity of the Nominet organization and its charter of public benefit and a vibrant digital future. Thank you.
Leanne, I think we're having trouble hearing your sound.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Okay, we seem to have lost Leanne. Okay. No, we still can't hear you. Shall we move on to Rex while Leanne sorts out her, oh, that might have been it. Or is that Rex coming off mute?
Hang on, try again.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good, Leanne.
Yeah. No? Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
I have no idea what happened there. Maybe I
Sounded like a dodgy
Rex,
connection on your
sorry.
headphones, Leanne.
How bizarre. Oh, well, never mind. Rex, you are up next. Sorry about that. We are back. Off you go.
Thank you, Leanne. Hello, everyone. I'm Rex Wickham. I'm standing for the UKRAC because I care about shaping the future of registration policy at Nominet. Sadly, members are not getting a fair say over all Nominet policy through the RAC, but the RAC is a start. I believe I can represent the views of the retail registrar. My company, 2020 Media, has been registering domains for a number of brands for over 20 years, with a customer base ranging from individuals to corporates and councils. I'm a co-owner of 2020 Media. It's a UK-based private hosting company started way back in 1999. We got frustrated by suppliers not keeping to their service level agreements. So as far as possible, we took ownership of critical systems, things like joining RIPE, getting multi-homed, and for domains, joining Nominet and later ICANN. Being a registrar means we can actively sort out problems for customers and aren't dependent on a reseller chain where there are delays and misunderstandings. I think most of us here would agree that Nominet's technical registry services are very good. It's more the policy that seems to suffer the outages. I did support the public benefit EGM to restore Nominet's purpose, and I remain committed to seeing Nominet enact real change. I want to see Nominet lowering executive pay, fairly setting domain pricing, increase spending on meaningful public benefit causes, and refocus on core registry operations. And finally, become more open and transparent with members. If I'm elected, I commit to keeping in contact with Nominet members of all sizes to hear their views and represent them on the RAC and to the Nominet board. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. Just hoping people can still hear me. I am going to come to Benedict next.
Hi, Leanne.
Yes, that means you can hear me. Excellent. Go for it, Benedict.
Hello, everyone. I'm the first of the medium and small registrars to speak. I'd like to be a voice for the medium and small registrars. Now, those of you that know me know I have a background in security. I used to work with Nominet back when I was in government and helped Nominet with some early abuse problems and with its security policy. But 7 years ago, I did something crazy and started a registrar, and that registrar was specifically to fill a need to hold and quarantine bad domain names. So I put myself in a strange position, which is at one point I was both dealing with the strategic issues around government interaction, abuse and security, cybercrime and cybersecurity, but also having to fight with billing issues and EPP and all the daily joy that the rest of us small and medium registrars have to deal with. And I got a strong feeling of what registrars face in dealing with so many different registries. I always thought that Nominet was the best registry I dealt with, and I really like Rex's idea of the policy outage. The technical stuff is all wonderful. It's Nominet is underpinned by excellent engineering. But I agree with him that Nominet came to my attention and started to be an issue when the confusion and drama over the last years and months arose. And so what I'd like to do is come in and be a balanced voice. I understand security and that strategic direction that Nominet's taking, that it has these government contracts, but on the other side, it's got to keep its prices reasonable. And I think that's something that it lost sort of sight of over the last period. And I think that's reflected in the people that have nominated me. I've been nominated by both Emily Taylor of Netistrar and Oxhill, and also Michaeli Nayland from Black Knight. So hopefully I'll be the person to sort of strike a balance in this group. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Benedict. Okay, we are on Andrew next.
Hello, my name is Andrew Bennett and I'm Managing Director of Netistrar Limited. We're a UK-based, ICANN accredited wholesale registrar with many .UK resellers. Netistrar has been a Nominet member since 2013 and we are a voting member of the ICANN Registrar Stakeholder Group. I am standing in the middle segment of the UKRAC election as independent registrar. However, we've just hit 40,000 domain names under management, so we're not exactly small. Our GT resellers include the top 25 registrars. Before Netistrar, I have been an active member of Nominet in a personal capacity since 2005. I was elected to the former policy advisory body, the PAB, while working for 123 Reg as domains manager in 2007. For the past 16 years, I've been a very active and engaged member of Nominet. Before Netistrar, during the recent EGM, I was invited by the previous chair of the Nominet board to be a part of the UKRAC design team. As an ardent supporter of the EGM, I thought it was inappropriate to accept that position at that time. I believe that I have made the right decision to stand for election from the resolution of the EGM. And that's the main reason that I've decided to stand. Nominet members deserve an elected policy committee that is truly representative, open, transparent and answerable to the membership. If elected, I'll do all I can to achieve this. And then there's talk about some current policy issues being the first things that Nominet will look at, including expired domains. And I'm involved in the secondary market as well as being a registrar. I've been managed a couple of large portfolios, some of the largest members, such as AnyWeb Limited and Giant Games Limited. So I have a lot of experience in expired domains, and my petition got 100 members to sign to say that they didn't want Nominet to auction expired domains. So I believe that drop list is the way forward, and we just need to find a mechanism that we can implement to make it fairer for all registrars to take part in that. Also, the members forum was shut down at the AGM, as everybody named, it was the main catalyst for the EGM. I believe a members forum powered by the UKRAC, where the RAC is moderators of the forum, may be advantageous to the membership. If you have any questions, please check out my website, andrewbennett.uk.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Slightly over. Peter, can I come to you?
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so my name is Peter Sundakolmisopi, and I came to this industry to infiltrate it. I'm usually a registrant and have been that for 20 years something, with quite a lot of activist projects that have been, let's say, controversial. One of my most known projects is the Pirate Bay, which is the most censored website in the world. And we've always had issues within my projects to keep domain names or have them attacked in different ways. So as I've grown up, I also wanted to be more involved in all of the internet industry that is really about the centralized communities. So domain names has obviously become one of the most important pieces of the internet industry when it comes to the rights to freedom of speech and the possibility of that. So I'm not really interested in policy work, to be honest. Like everyone else here seems to be really into that. I'm not interested at all, but I'm interested in the outcome of policy work. I'm also interested in the transparency of organizations like Nominet. So I'm here to work for the registrants rather than the registry or the registrars. So I founded SAREC in Finland. I'm Finnish Norwegian, so I'm both a part of the EU and not. Sort of like Nominet and the UK. But I founded the company because I wanted to be more involved in both good technology, which is obviously lacking, maybe not the Nominet side, but also because I wanted to have a saying in kind of increasing the benefit to registrants in this industry. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, I'm going to come to Leslie next, please.
Right. Hi, Leanne. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Leslie Moody. I'm Managing Director of AES Digital Solutions, and we've been where we fall into the small member category. We've been a member of Nominet for over 26 years, and like Benedict and Rex, I think it's fair to say we've always had great support and service on the technical side of things that we're doing. Our company works in the UK creative and digital space, and I certainly believe that a strong UK registry is important for the growth of Nominet member companies, companies like ours. I also was really interested when I saw that Nominet were looking at setting up the council, an advisory council. I've got quite a lot of experience of working in and with organisations that are membership organisations with councils, and I think that a council can be a good way of helping members and the boards of organisations understand one another, and also to help them communicate better. So that's why I was very keen to stand for this this advisory council role. I think that there is such a lot that can be discussed and brought through a council to the board, to a board that can help move things along much more efficiently and smoothly. I also believe it's important that Nominet supports its members, but as members, we also need to come together to support our organisation and to engage with it as regularly as possible, supporting the sorts of activities that we all believe in. For me, these sorts of activities include working for the public good, keeping the domain space safe, and providing member services at a reasonable cost and to give value for money. And I think all of those things are areas where a council can help discuss with members and also with the board. I also think that for council members, it's not just about making complaints to the board and battering them over the head over things that they're doing, but trying to work with them to make things better and to find ways around issues that are being raised.
Need to start you there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Right, next on to John, please.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name's John Richards, and I'll start off with my kind of slogan for this, which has been a level playing field for all. I've been a programmer for more than 50 years, and I now run backends and small web servers for one-man businesses in the area. I host less than 100 domains, but I also have good experience as a chairman of the Regional Chamber of Trade and a local councillor in working in meetings, analysing and taking the comprehensive and overview of everything. Having been a Nominet member for quite a while now, I've been very concerned over the last few years that things are in favour of the larger companies. We personally had issues when the .uk came out because we couldn't afford an EPP system, and we lost 2 weeks and lost a lot of domains. I didn't think that was fair. We've also lost customers to some of the bigger companies who are selling domains at ridiculously cheap prices, far less than we can. And I also don't think that is fair to the small members. When the change to the government was proposed, I thought it was a good idea, and I hope it is the way forward. As I said, I can bring lots of negotiating and other skills to the table, a knowledge of programming, as I said, for 50 years, and a bit of web design and a bit of web hosting. I think Nominet needs to involve all its members. And it came to a head over this eventually when we were not invited to come to the survey or anything because nobody had signed us up for a members list, which we didn't know we had to sign up to get invited to the survey. And something as important as that, I believe, should have been circulated to everybody. So there we are, small one-man business fighting for the little man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Right, let's move on to Dan, please.
Hi, so I'm Dan Rogers. I run all the .domains, which is just a very small little domains focused retail brand. I've been a Nominet member since 2012. Started my first business just a little bit before that, which was then sold to a medium-sized group, which was then later acquired by a much larger group, and then a much larger group still. So I've got a very broad experience across the spectrum of sizes of domain registrar, managing domains from a few hundred to hundreds of thousands. I've also built various systems which works with EPP, so I'm very familiar with the technical side of things and also the issues that come about from that. I think one of the core things I'd want to focus on, if elected, is making sure that policy makes sense for members. I know myself, there's been a lot of frustration when things just aren't practical, they aren't well thought out, and I think having that experience will really help us get some policy that makes better sense. I also think that recently we've demonstrated that Nominet has a serious trust and transparency problem, as shown by the EGM, which I supported and continue to support the goals of public benefit campaign. And I think a core focus will be ensuring that any policy is developed has a focus on ensuring there's a level playing field so all members can compete and work with it, and there's no particular member segment with a huge advantage, and that transparency is at the heart of everything that Nominet does. And I will push for that to try and ensure that we can bring back the integrity of Nominet through a culture of transparency, so members can rebuild the trust in the organisation, and we can all move forward with a reliable, trusted .uk registry.
Thanks, Dan. Right, let's move on to Stephen, please.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yep, we can hear you.
Right, my name's Stephen Yarrow. I'm 63 and I've been a register of Nominet, I believe, for over 20 years. I am a very small member, holding approximately 131 UK names and around 75 names from other TLDs. Started my first domain in '97. Since then, I've been buying selling domain names. I now also design and host websites and manage the CentOS VPS, so I have some insight into DNS. I'm very passionate about domain ownership and the right to a domain associated with your business or trademark, especially after the 1 in a million fiasco, which some of you might remember. I practice due diligence in all areas of my business and wish to complement my work as an accredited registrar. Since I put myself up for election, I've started to offer a service to make websites disabled friendly. This is now law in the US, and I believe it's coming very soon to the EU and UK shortly. And I think this is something Nominet and its members should be involved in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on now to Secondary Market Independent, and Susanna, please.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I don't want you to vote for me. Let me explain. Ciprian and I are the only two candidates for the independent seats, so we'll win our seats automatically anyway. So speaking for myself, if you vote for me, it would be a complete waste of a vote. Don't do it. What we need is 6 candidates elected to be 6 seats who voted yes for the removal of the directors at the EGM and who have actively supported the return of Nominet to its founding not-for-profit principles. So we've got some great candidates here. I've been really pleasantly surprised, but I'd like to endorse 4 candidates in particular and urge you to vote for them. Andrew Bennett of Netistra, Dan Rogers of XDNet, Rex Wickham of 2020, and Arno Franquinet of Gandhi. But we must represent all members. It's important, though, that there's a majority on the council who really want to make it a voice for change in Nominet. The council must have the right to choose its own chair, not have a director imposed on it from above, as has been proposed. That's totally unacceptable. The council must choose the moderators of the new member forum after the last one was disgracefully deleted. Moderation of a new members forum should not be left to Nominet staff, it belongs to the members. The council must have the right to run its own social media platforms, for example on Twitter. Our voice must not be controlled from above. Now, I know it sounds harsh, but the remnant board colluded in what went wrong, and the direction taken was frankly appalling. This is the board that rubber stamps £7.5 million squandered on ventures that haven't made a penny, that rubber stamped the deletion of a member's voice on their own forum, that rubber stamped excessive executive pay and opposed the changes that Simon Blackler proposed. So please vote for Andrew, Dan, Rex and Arno, and make sure that this council really calls for change, and it's a UK registry run for the many, not the few. Thank you.
Thanks, Susanna. Ciprian, moving on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ciprian Kukuruz. I'm the last, but hopefully not least. I'm a geeky video producer by day. I can write some code, but I'm definitely not a programmer. I'm a domain investor, mostly as a hobby and kind of a side business. I have been a member of Nominet for just over a year. I joined at the end of 2019, I believe. But ever since, even though it is a short period of time, through my engagement with other members and through learning more about Nominet, it became painfully clear that Nominet has lost its way. So I believe the board has been too focused on its commercial ventures, while membership was forgotten or pushed to the side to the point that we felt completely ignored. The public benefit campaign has highlighted all of these issues, and members have firmly stood behind it, as I did as well. The EGM should have been a wake-up call to the board, but I believe they persist with their commercial strategy while only pretending to listen to members. These listening exercises and the one-way members hub are simply not the solution. We need to bring back the forum. Members need to be listened to. We all essentially want the same thing. We all want what's best for Nominet and the UK namespace. There needs to be a better representation of membership and improved governance overall. We mustn't forget that Nominet is a not-for-profit. It's a membership organization, and this should be reflected in the way it's being run. The members should have a strong input and in any key decisions and long-term strategies of
2 minutes.
Nominet. If elected, I intend to be a transparent proxy between the voice of the secondary market, which I represent, and the board. As with
You
Susanna,
are over time, so
please don't vote for me.
are you wrapping up?
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Okay, great. Okay, let's move on. Thank you, everyone. Right, so it's over to you guys now. What are your questions? Please use your raise hand function if you have a question for any of the candidates. I know we had some that came in previously, so I can take those first. But if you do want to raise your hand, do so now, and then I can come to you next. Do we have Paul Cienciala? I think Paul had a question. If you can take yourself off mute, Paul, and just state who your question is for, whether it's for everyone or whether it's for a particular segment.
Yeah, hi Leanne, thank you very much. I would like to know how it's for everybody. Very briefly, how do people vote in the EGM?
Okay, if people are willing to share, I shall invite them to answer that question. So first I'm coming to Ashley.
Hi there. Hi there, Ashley here. 2 Cows supported the EGM. We also made a statement on our blog. If anybody is interested in reading it, I'm happy to point that out.
Thank you, Ashley. Prudence, coming to you next.
So just unmuting myself there. So wow, that's a question. Okay, so in short, we did not support the EGM. However, one thing I do want to add to that is that we really should have a diverse group that's picked in order for the advisory council to be effective. So maybe a mix of people who did vote and didn't vote would actually make sure that we can have a policy that's best for, you know, the registry moving forward. I'll stop there.
Thanks, Prudence. Barbara, coming to you next.
Hi, actually, I recently have taken over kind of this relationship, so I'm not really sure how we did vote, but I can get back to you on that.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. Rex, coming to you next.
Yeah, we voted in favour of the EGM.
There you go.
And one of the signers of the original petition to hold it as well.
We're getting through the very short and snappy answers these. Benedict, can I come to you next?
Certainly. So I abstained for a specific technicality, that the domains that we were given into Roller, my registrar, were put there and we didn't pay for them, nor did our registrants pay for them. And they were put there to deal with malicious abuse. So there are a bunch of nonsensical .me.uk domains, and I just felt that shouldn't give me voting rights. So it was a sort of moral and ethical choice to do that. But I struggled with it, and I will say here that I wasn't particularly impressed by the pressure that Nominet put on me, which I felt was frankly a little bit outside of the normal run of things. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Andrew, come to you next.
Registrar voted in favour, and I was a big supporter of the EGM. We helped design a campaign with Simon Blacker, as Crystal's a big customer of Registrar, and we worked together on the campaign, and I was one of the original signatures on the petition that got it all going in the beginning.
Thanks, Andrew. Peter, coming to you next.
Yeah, so I did exactly as Benedict. I abstained because I didn't feel that I was a big enough registrar to actually have a saying here.
Perfect, thank you, Peter. Leslie.
Yes, I supported, and can I just say, I think that had we had an advisory group in place with a strong enough team of people, then we might not have ended up, getting to the point of having that situation of having an extraordinary general meeting. And I would hope that in the future that an advisory group would help avoid further things like that.
Thank you, Leslie. John.
Mute. Sorry about that. I had long conversations with Nominet and the other party before the EGM and decided, because of what I've said about the small people, to fully support the changes. So I voted at the EGM for change.
Thank you, John. Dan.
I voted yes and have supported the campaign since the very beginning. If it matters, I think I was the 11th person to sign the initial thing to submit it, and completely support making changes in Nominet for the better.
Thanks, Dan. Stephen.
Oh yeah, I believe we voted in favour.
Thank you. Susanna.
I voted yes at the last EGM. I'd vote yes again at a second EGM to remove the remaining board reluctantly. I voted because running the UK registry should have been as basic as driving down a one-way street. It was a clear remit, just run the registry. You're gifted a monopoly, you've got millions of registrations every year, you just have to make sure it works. But the board and executive decided to follow the inspired brainwaves of leaders who managed to lose £7.5 million in the opposite direction, driving the wrong way down a simple not-for-profit one-way street. So it's like, where were we, the members? We were like the people in the back seat, but we weren't allowed to speak properly. It was like, guys, you're going down the wrong direction. Shut up. We know what we're doing. Will someone shut these people up? Yeah, all right, I'll shut them up. I'll delete the forum. Cheers. Take a pay rise. The Remnant Board sanctioned all this. They sanctioned the theatrical deletion of the members' forum. They sanctioned the casino investments like Cyglass, which is still losing money. It wasn't just the CEO, it was everyone involved. They backed the journey down the wrong way down the one-way street. So the EGM was the chance to stop the runaway car, to restore trust. But the trust is still broken. Why wouldn't it be? The people behind the joyride are still driving the cars. So we need the members' council that puts the board on a last chance probation, as they promise now, but they'll do a U-turn. The council that calls out any deviation from the narrow remit to run the UK registry. It's a basic one-way, not-for-profit remit. Please vote for members who will really call this remnant board to account, like Andrew, Dan, Rex, Arno, and there are other members who've spoken today who you might also consider because they share views like this. Yes, I voted yes.
Thank you. Right, Ciprian.
Ciprian.
How do I pronounce your name? I'm so sorry. I don't want to mispronounce it every time.
Ciprian.
Ciprian.
Yeah.
You're next.
Yeah, so if it wasn't clear already from my statement, I did vote for the EGM. I have been a vocal advocate for the public benefit campaign throughout on social media and on offline, and I strongly believe that all the proposals brought by the public benefit campaign are the only way forward for Nominet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, right. Don't forget to raise your hands. I don't have any raised hands from the floor, but I think we do have Joe Telford, who did put a question in the chat. Joe, were you there? Would you like to ask your question? Oh, sorry, I've missed somebody out. I've missed Arno out. I'm so sorry. I do apologise. Before we get to Joe, Arno.
Thank you, Lynn.
Sorry, it's because you're at the top. You've gone to the bottom of my list rather than the top. I do apologise.
Doesn't matter, and I have some lag on the connection, so it wasn't easy to. Well, Gandhi, we take a public position on the EGM, and we support, in fact, the action of the public benefits. Just because we have a lot of asking from our clients who ask them. Who ask us to take position and to take our responsibility to impulse change, in fact, just to realign Nominet with the raison d'être of Nominet and the situation of public grant, in fact, in managing the .UK and to. So a lot of our clients take position with us and said to us, well, Gandhi, go and support, please. We are, so as a proxy, in fact, we do. And just to be clear,
I think we've lost Arno. Or is it just me?
No, we lost him. He said he had some connection problems, right?
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll come back to Arno and let him finish answering that that question shortly. Let's move on to Joe's question. I'll keep an eye on Arno and see if he unpauses. Joe, did you have a question? And if so, who is it for?
Hi, yes, I just wanted to get a feel for the spread across the board. Where are the candidates themselves located? Are they UK based or external or largely down south, or just to really find out?
Okay, great. Geographic location of the candidates, please. Prudence, you're up first.
So I'm physically located in the southeast part of London, in Beckenham. However, my registrar is based in the United States, but my extensive experience is based in Europe, but I'm physically, as you can probably tell by my accent, in London.
Thank you, Prudence. Barbara.
Hi, I'm physically located in the United States, Florida, but of course we have offices in the UK and globally.
Thank you, Barbara. Rex.
We are based in the UK. All our infrastructure is in the UK. All our customer support team are in the UK, 100% UK, and I'm based in London.
Thank you, Rex. Benedict.
Hello. As you can tell from my accent, I'm British, and the Registrar of Last Resort is a Dutch stichting, and that's a sort of non-profit that's quite hard for to attack legally. So we decided to incorporate as a stichting to defend ourselves against Russian mobsters. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, thanks, Bennett. Andrew.
We're based in Burton-on-Trent in Staffordshire, and we also have a developer office in Oxford, very close to Nominet in Cowley.
Thank you. Peter.
Yeah, so I'm Finnish Norwegian based in Helsinki and in Finland and Malmö in Sweden, and we also have developers in Berlin.
Great, thanks, Peter. Leslie.
Hi, we're based in the northeast of England. We have offices in Billingham, Stockton-upon-Tees area of Tees Valley, and also in Northumberland. But our customers are, well, all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. John.
Yep, I'm based in Watchet in West Somerset on the edge of Exmoor, and virtually all our customers are within a 25 to 30 mile radius, small bed and breakfasts, one-man businesses, single-page websites, etc. So we've got very much the countryside at heart.
Thank you, John. Dan.
UK based completely. Physically, I just moved back to Swindon, but basically it's down south UK.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Stephen.
Right, the business is based in central London and the West End. Most of the guys in the ground are based in a place called Boreham Wood in northwest London. And personally myself, I spend very little time in the UK now, and I'm currently in Bulgaria.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Susanna.
East Midlands.
Thank you. And Ciprian.
I'm UK based in the Silicon Fens, Cambridge to be more exact. If it makes a difference, it shouldn't, I hope. I'm Romanian, currently in the process of getting my British citizenship.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to try Arno again. He is having some connection problems.
Yes, thank you. We have offices in Paris, San Francisco, Taipei, and Luxembourg, but clients in all the world.
Great. And just in the interest of fairness, was there anything else you wanted to add to the end of your first answer? You finished on to be clear. That could be no. Oh, I think you might have frozen again, so we'll come back to him. Okay, Ashley, where are you based?
So I am based out of Germany. Two Cows is headquartered in Canada with offices in the US and then Copenhagen, and also here where I am in Bonn. And like with Gandhi, customers all over the place, large portion of customers in the UK as well.
Okay, great. Oh, I've just noticed that Dinesh is dropping out, and I was actually going to come to him next to see if he had a question, but I think it may have already been asked. Okay,
yes,
so
think, sorry, yeah, so Leanne, yeah, the question's already been asked, so thank you very much for that. But
okay.
Thank you to all the candidates.
Okay, I don't see any more hands raised, and I'm not gonna take up time unnecessarily. So if you do have a question, please do speak now, or raise your hand. Which is probably more appropriate. Ashley, do you have a question for yourself?
I don't have a question. Well, it's not a question for the other candidates. It's actually a question for you. Okay. So I was wondering if there's a way that the candidates could share their contact information with the wider membership. So if people wanted to get in touch and talk through issues, they can. I mean, I could share it in the chat here, but there's only, there's less than 40 people on the call. So there's a lot of people that get missed out on. So I think it would be really great if there was a way I could share that. Maybe not posted on the website, but somewhere that's only accessible to members.
Yeah. Okay. Rowena, is there a way of doing that, do you think? Or is that one that we just need to take away and have a think about how we do that?
Yeah, we might just need to take that away and think about the best place to share that information. But in principle, yes, of course.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Is that something else that the other candidates would be supportive of?
Yeah, I include an email address on my statement. I'm happy to be contacted.
Most definitely.
Happy with that. Yeah.
Happy with that.
Okay. Okay. Who else have we got? John.
No,
John, you've got your hand up. Or are you giving me a thumbs up for contact details?
Yeah, I was just trying to say yes, don't worry.
Okay, okay, perfect. Any more questions from anyone else? I'm very impressed. We've been extremely efficient given the number of candidates on. But really, members, this is your opportunity to ask these candidates anything. So please do take the opportunity while it is here. But obviously, if you can't think of anything, okay, I have something in the chat from Martin. Martin, would you like to take yourself off mute and ask your question? And is it to everyone or? Oh, Martin doesn't have any audio connection. Is it to all candidates? Okay, so his question, I think, is to everyone. Would candidates support Nominet to give all voting members' email address to public benefit for next EGM? Okay, let's go to Barbara first.
Hi, I'm sorry, can you explain that a little bit, that question?
So if members ask for a register of members under a specific format, then Nominet is legally obliged to provide a register of members. And Martin is saying, would candidates support Nominet to give all voting members email addresses? We don't currently give email addresses out. It's only registered address, I believe, to public benefit for the next EGM.
I would support that.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Rex?
Good question, Martin. Yes, I mean, Nominet's behaviour in sending out 500 pieces of paper when asked for a perfectly legitimate request for the members register, and was very indicative of how they campaigned against the public benefit EGM. And yes, I'd support, as long as members can have a choice of what email address to put on their register, knowing that it could be made widely distributed, then yes, they should be able to get all contact information. It's part of contact information, so why not?
Okay, thank you. Benedict.
This feels like one of those questions that might be more complicated in the execution than in the yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but GDPR. So so I think you'd have to think a little bit more carefully about designing a consent or opt-in based system. Don't know how those I don't know how those email addresses are obtained, but it seems like, as a techie, it seems sensible, right? That we don't put blocks in each other's paths like sending 500 pieces of paper, and from an environmental perspective, it's a nightmare as well. So yeah, it's find a more sensible way. You've got lots of good engineers.
Okay, thanks, Benedict. Andrew.
Yes, I agree with Benedict. It's a bit more complicated involving the Companies Act. The actual section is section 116 of the Companies Act, and that makes no reference to email addresses, which is why Nominet doesn't give out email addresses. But I still believe there should be a mechanism for a candidate or whoever wants to send an EGM postcard, as long as they've got 5% of required for Nominet to send out the postcard or whatever they want to send out.
Thanks, Andrew. Peter.
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So obviously I'm supportive of privacy. I want everyone to feel safe, safe with giving out their email address. But as long as it's a public email address and you can opt in and opt out of this, of course, you should be able to share that.
Thank you, Peter. Leslie.
Yeah, I think so long as it's not a private email address, and as other people have mentioned, because of the GDPR issue, that there's the facility to opt in, opt out, and just to make sure that we are, as an organisation, protected, that we're not irritating members by doing this.
Thank you, Leslie. John.
Now, I've got a little viewpoint on this one. I'm sure most members have got the option to create email addresses on the fly and give a specific one for public that can be blocked if it gets abused. I don't think that's an issue. I'm not sure about giving the information to any particular organisation. I think it should be generally available. The members list on your website is terrible. It's very out of date. A lot of the domains and places don't exist anymore. I wrote to the company secretary as requested for a list of members and had this convoluted answer that I had to put it in a special format and so on. I felt that was a little bit obstructive. That was for this election. I believe members should be available with not necessarily the phone numbers there and then, but a method of finding all members and registrars should be on the website.
Thank you, John. Dan.
So firstly, I think it was absolutely ridiculous and blatantly, intentionally frustrating to send out 500 pieces of paper to the public benefit campaign. I think that was completely unacceptable. I do think there is issues in fairness over these votes and ensuring that the opposing candidate or the opposing campaign has equal access to the members to make their case. I agree. I think it probably would be problematic to hand out lists of thousands of email addresses without prior consent. And I know that you know, you, Leanne, have a lot of problems trying to get people to sign up to the mailing list. So that certainly wouldn't have full coverage if it was purely a, hey, you can opt into this here. So I think a better way of doing it would be that we stipulate that Nominet must treat these campaigns fairly. Nominet shouldn't be able to use data which isn't available to the campaigns, and Nominet should be able to send messages, pay for sending postcards for any campaign that has reached that 5% threshold. I think is completely fair. And I think that's a core thing that we need to hopefully potentially enshrine in a future AGM or an EGM, to ensure that Nominet doesn't abuse its position and its access to members' data for its own means, instead of providing a fair option to the members to vote on their own, based on their own decision.
Thanks, Dan. Stephen.
Right, as John quite rightly said, because of the business we're in, I think we're all capable of adding another email address to our mail servers for this purpose. But I think what would be a good idea is to have members have first name dot second name at nominet.co.uk, which can be used specifically for this purpose.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Susanna. Are you still there?
Sorry, didn't seem to unmute. Yeah, what I'd say is, yes, as others have said, you've got to seek consent first when you are giving data to other people, unlike when Nominet transferred data about emails and how people have voted. When they transferred that to a third party at Savanta, you shouldn't be doing things like that without first informing people and asking for consent. It's simple courtesy, and it's also safety sometimes for people. People have mentioned the 550 pieces of paper to Simon Blackler. That was high-handed, a bit like shutting down. It's a culture. It's a high-handed culture. And I was concerned to hear that Benedict said that he'd been put under pressure by Nominet at the time of the last EGM to vote. I've been told by the board that no pressure was put on people to vote no, and I hope that was the case, Benedict, but I'd be interested to know whether or not that was the case. So yes, subject to consent, I do think that somebody who has proposed the resolution should have a level playing field with the Nominet board itself. Unlike at the time of the last EGM, when Civica, the election platform, they updated the board and the executive day by day, and Rob has confirmed that, about who was voting, and as far as we know, how they were voting. So, and that video, what about that video on the voting form? How is that a level playing field when an opponent to the resolution is allowed to put a video up, but Simon Blackler wasn't? So there's a lot of issues here, but fundamentally the question is a good one, because there should be impartiality during any kind of vote. And the board should remain detached from that, even though they have views and they can represent those views during the campaign period. Sorry, I'll stop there.
Thank you. Ciprian.
Yeah, this sounds like a simple answer. Yes, in principle, email address should be shared, but it can be a bit of a minefield in terms of privacy, GDPR, and so on. That's why I think Rex and Andrew touched on a potential solution to that. So once a campaign reaches that threshold of 5% to call an EGM, they can be given an email alias, either for individual members or for membership as a whole. So, you know, Nominet is a digital company. I'm sure together we can find a technical digital solution for that rather than printing 500 pages of paper.
Thank you. Arno, come to you next. He is on. Arno, are you there?
It's better with the mute.
There you are.
I said the answer is yes, with the respect of confidentiality, LGBT, but we need transparency in the vote. So the solution is to find tools to manage and to organize the diffusion. Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I was on mute. Ashley.
So I agree with the principle. I think the implementation is just up for discussion. When I gave my introduction at the very beginning, I mentioned that I think the RAC needs to encourage discussion amongst members and not just between members and the board. And right now, it's really difficult for members to have that discussion because there's no platform for that and there's no easy way to get in touch with other members. Off the top of my head, I have to think of the ICANN platform that accredited registrars use. There's a place where you can go in and update contact information that you'd like to be provided to other registrars. You know, I think something like that would be a really simple solution that would allow everyone with access and allow everyone to choose the contact information they want published for other members to be able to access. So I think there's a way that we can address this that allows members to get in touch with each other and you know, create a level playing field for when we want to create change, or try to even just reach across boundaries and talk to each other.
Thank you, Ashley. And Prudence.
Hi, just to echo existing sentiments, obviously there's GDPR implications potentially, so opt in, opt out, but potentially yes, of course, we should definitely be facilitating contact and queries amongst ourselves. How that's done, I'm not entirely sure. There was a really good suggestion from Stephen about creating a specific Nominet email that could work. But again, yes, if done correctly, definitely.
Thank you, Prudence. Okay, I can see some people are rapidly putting their contact details in the chat for any members who are live on the call. Any other questions? I don't see any other hands raised, and I'm sure that we have got two. Oh, let's have a look in the chat. Okay, Martin, should Nominet staff, sorry, it's just moved. Should Nominet staff be contacting members in order to influence their votes in any AGM, EGM? Just a note on that from me. I actually took part in obviously reaching out to members to encourage them to vote. There was at no point did I influence members on how to vote. The point is that Nominet has quite a low participation from members, I would say, in governance issues. So the point was to encourage members to vote in whichever way they felt was right for them and right for Nominet. So I just wanted to clarify that point, that there was no influencing, certainly from our part, in terms of how members voted. So I suppose it is a question. So I guess the general question is, if there is unfortunately another EGM, should Nominet be contacting members to encourage them to vote at all? Rex.
Hello, Steve Marston just said he's happy with your answer, actually, but I'm happy to give a comment on this. I mean, can you say hand on heart that Nominet didn't try to influence the vote on the EGM beyond the board themselves?
Is that a question for me?
I guess so, yeah. Follow up to what you just said.
Yeah, I absolutely, I had lots and lots of conversations with members who were fully supportive of the EGM, and if that's the way they wanted to vote, that was okay. The important thing, particularly from an engagement perspective, is that members took part in something that was really, really important.
I mean, there was the public benefit campaign certainly galvanized members in a way that hasn't been seen, in Nominet's history, I think. But I don't think it would be fair to say that Nominet staff weren't involved in elements of the board's campaign against the EGM through things like Twitter, producing videos, producing leaflets that were sent out, etc. I mean, in answer to Martin's question, I would, you said it didn't happen, and I accept that for phone calls. But on a wider issue, there was certainly not a level playing field as far as the two sides of the argument were presented by Nominet to the membership.
Okay, thanks, Rex. Benedict.
Can you repeat the question, please? I've got rather lost in all of that.
It was around, should Nominet be contacting members to encourage them to vote in an AGM or an EGM?
It seems like a loaded question, doesn't it? I think if we all agree that participation in democracy is a good thing, right? But trying to even imply that there is a correct way to vote is not acceptable, and I think Nominet crossed that line. And in my case, it crossed that line in writing, not on a phone call. So I think that I think we need, one of the things we need to hold Nominet to account over is the way it manages the electoral process, because I don't want to see this kind of thing happen again. That's stern, but that's with my ex-law enforcement hat on. I think that was I don't support all of the reason for the EGM, and as I said, I stayed entirely neutral and abstained. But I think there was some unacceptable tactics during this election, and I'd like to see that not happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, Benedict. Andrew.
Yeah, I think when you look at other companies' PLC votes, their shareholder votes are contacted by the company. So I can see where Nominet was coming from, in that it believes that it should only put their point of view across. But when it came to the voting mechanism by Civica, that was totally one-sided, and there was no choice on that election form, as Susanna already pointed out, with a one-sided video. So it's more about Nominet presenting the options and not saying which one way or the other. But there is a sort of a corporate etiquette to these things, and the procedures at AGMs, and I think Nominet needs to accept it's a membership company, and it needs to listen to members and make sure that both sides of the argument are put across.
Thank you, Andrew. Peter. Is Peter there? Are you there, Peter? I'll come back to you. Leslie.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. Yeah, I mean, we were contacted, I think, by Nominet. We certainly spoke to Nominet, but we certainly didn't feel pressurised by them. I think I understand where Nominet was coming from in terms of contacting people to encourage member engagement, because it isn't always that great, and to try to encourage people to be involved in everything, not just in EGM, but in everything that they're doing, I think is important. And I think perhaps if, you know, as you say, if we did end up going down a similar route in the future, where we want to encourage people to have a voice, then I think part of it is perhaps doing that part of that through the advisory council, but also perhaps bringing in an external group of people to actually discuss and to contact members, but to have a very clear document which identifies what the things are that we're saying, that those people are saying to those people, so that everyone knows that there isn't any particular slant being put on what's being asked of them or said to them. Okay. Just to try and make people feel more more happy about what's going out.
Perfect. Thank you, Leslie. John. John there? You're on mute.
That's it. Sorry. I sent a message to everybody. I had a call from a gentleman at Nominet. I wouldn't say trying to persuade me, but telling me the benefits of keeping things as they were. Certainly nothing from Leanne, although we've had a few interesting discussions. But there was a little bit of pressure there, but there was the same from public benefit. So it's a little bit unfair to say one was worse than the other.
Okay, thanks, John. Dan.
Sorry, I've completely forgotten the question again.
We've strayed a little bit. We've definitely strayed a little bit away from UK Registry Advisory Council, but I think in terms of engagement and the function of the council, I think, you know, member engagement, I hope, will be an important part of that. So I think, you know, if you go back to Leslie's point about, you know, the council members trying to encourage a bit more member engagement, the actual question was around, should Nominet be encouraging members to vote in an AGM or an EGM?
Sure.
I'm hoping there won't be another EGM, but clearly there is an AGM. And just for the record, we do reach out to people to try and get them to encourage participation in the AGM as well. But there is a lot of members, and there are a lot of members who do not vote. So if you don't get a call from me, or you don't get an email from me, it's because I haven't managed to get to you to encourage you to vote in the AGM. But the point is, should we be encouraging members to vote in the AGM or the EGM?
Sure. Okay. Thanks for refreshing me there. So yeah, I think, I mean, anecdotally, I did see a number of members who certainly stated that they had received things that were trying to persuade them one way or another, which I think was inappropriate. I agree that the video and the page on the voting form was completely inappropriate. And despite the fact that I've been involved with that EGM campaign and supported it, I must admit that it was only really once I got to that voting page that I become, you know, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, die hard for it, because I saw that and I was absolutely disgusted with what Nominet was doing, and which it only reinforced wanting to see change. In terms of Nominet actually encouraging voting, I think that's in a normal situation, in a healthy member-based company, that is perfectly good and right. The problem is trust. And when there isn't the trust there for Nominet, and when you have various members of all different ilks coming out saying, wait a second, they were trying to make me vote this way or that way, that is a very problematic thing to have, which is why I think it's much better to, I think Nominet should be instilling a separation between the organisation and a board recommendation for votes like this, for starters. So I think there should be, you know, iron firewalls between the two, and the organisation itself should remain impartial throughout all these votes and allow members to make up their own minds. If the board, as 11, 12, however many people, want to come out with a statement saying which way they think is the best option, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't think they should be using company resources to push a particular point of view. Maybe if there's a lot more trust, that's something that can happen in future, but right now, no.
Okay. Can we go to Stephen next, please?
Yeah, I believe we should be encouraged to vote, but not pressurised into voting. And just in case, I don't know if anyone else had the problem, but it's a company who outsourced the paperwork to. I had a lot of grief getting their emails. They're all blocked by Spambrella. So they had to be sent manually to me. So maybe we can look into their system, because it didn't work for me at all.
Okay, thanks, Stephen.
Yeah.
Susanna.
Well, first of all, Leanne, I totally believe what you said. You're somebody I hold in high respect and esteem. I've always found you practical, fair and decent. And if you said you didn't try to influence people, that, as far as I'm concerned, is the truth. More generally, I think that the board, the fact it had to do a mass phone call, and as Benedict says, put pressure on people to vote a correct way. And Benedict is clearly saying that he had pressure put on him to vote a correct way, both by phone and in writing. At that point, I think that is worrying. And it reflects the fact that the board and executive, in the lead up to the EGM, were in absolute panic mode. Because it's absolutely obvious and clear, I think most of us know, that most of the people who are engaged members who didn't need to be phoned up were supporting public benefit on this issue because Nominet had gone the wrong way. And it became increasingly obvious that the 5 directors concerned were in danger of losing their positions. So my impression was that this was the company was put into panic mode. This wasn't just a normal, let's send an email reminding you to vote to attend the EGM. This was phoning people around, bearing in mind that you also had the day-by-day info from Civica as to who had voted and who hadn't. And Rob said that nobody who'd already voted was phoned up, but you knew from the public benefit list of signatories which people from public benefit hadn't yet voted. You had an advantage over Simon Blackler, and you had the phone numbers. And I don't think that's a level playing field.
Okay, thank you. Ciprian. I really hope I'm saying your name properly.
That's okay, I'm used to it. I think Nominet did a really bad job at the EGM. They were not impartial. You know, they could have done it better. And I think the others before me put the case better. And there's no point in reiterating that.
Okay. Arno, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Well, you have the staff and the board, in fact. So, of course, the staff could encourage to vote, but not influence and not having some influence on the vote. For the board member, it's quite different because they are under the campaign. So they can express and argue their point of view. I had a lot of meeting with different board members and director from the staff for the Nominet board during before, during, and after the EGM, but never be influenced. In fact, it was just discussion and just to express some point of view. In fact.
Okay, thank you. Ashley.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll be honest, the conduct of the board in the last EGM was just shocking to me. And we had already made our decision on how we wanted to vote, but their behavior just proved to us that we were right in our decision. Like, I'm not ready to go with public with details or anything, but like behavior that I just found really, really deplorable. And so I want to say that, and when I say that, I'm saying it's just the board. We didn't have anybody from Nominet staff trying to sway us either way. We did have people encouraging us to vote, which I think is great. You know, I come from the US. There's a pretty divided political scene there, but I think, you know, anything that encourages people to vote is always positive, as long as you're letting them make the decision on their own. So what I would say is that I think it's fair to allow the Nominet board to make its case, but you have to create a platform or a space or some sort of forum for the other side to make their case as well. You need to allow people to have access to information on both sides. There needs to be a good discussion around the issue, and I think it's good if it's a public discussion. And then, you know, don't use your technical access to contact information, to the website, to the newsletter, to try to sway people away. So yeah, I mean, I think now and in the EGM, I think it's really important to make the distinction between staff and the board. And staff have always been really great, you know, very knowledgeable, technically sound, very helpful. But when it comes to the board, we need to set restrictions around how they can use their thumb to weigh the scales.
Great, thank you, Ashley. Prudence.
Oh, okay, so we didn't receive any phone calls and we didn't get any special mentions from the board, and frankly I feel a little bit left out of this party, as I like to think quite a big player as well. We didn't get any of this pressure. I think I got maybe an email and that was about it, and it was pretty neutral toned, and it was just saying, you know, can you vote, because most people aren't going to. So from that respect, we didn't feel that pressure, you know, obviously it's inappropriate to have or experience that, and it's what should be a neutral voting process. However, in my personal view, there should be an encouragement to participate, because we know that the numbers are low with regards to participating in EGMs, AGMs. So I do think the registry should be fine to reserve the right to kind of ask people to get engaged. However, it just needs to be done in a way that is entirely neutral, which I think is pretty much what is echoing everyone's sentiment, that it may not have been handled as neutrally as possible. However, personally, we didn't experience it, and I'm frankly disappointed that we weren't kind of reached out to in that way. Yes, I think it's fine to try and get people to participate. It's just making sure it's done in a way that's respectful and neutral, and not trying to overly use or exert your influence. Thanks.
Thanks, Prudence. Peter, I'm just going to come back to you in case you do have anything to say on this point, because you weren't there when I invited you previously. And I don't know whether Peter has actually dropped off. Okay. Okay. I do not have any hands up, and we are at the end of our 90 minutes. So well done, everybody. Oh, I do have, sorry. Rowena, could you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Could you do a quick recap of the process in terms of voting?
Yeah, so it will be your voting contact in your Nominet account that gets an email. It will be sent from the same external agency that we used last time. So please do check your spam filters if you had difficulties with that before, because it will be the same company. If you don't have an email, get in contact with us, either UKRAC@nominet.uk or the usual engagement email. I'm sure Leanne and team will forward it across and someone will look into it. Yeah, and then you just log onto a platform. It's preferential voting for each of the segments. All members can vote in all segments. So when you log on, you'll just click through to each of the segments, and then you'll put, it's like a drag and drop, you'll put the candidates in order that you want to vote for them, 1 through to however many there are, and you just repeat that for each segment. And then, yeah, you're done. It's short, it only takes 2 minutes or so. And
voting opens tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, key dates, yes. opens tomorrow, closes on the 22nd of July. There's a little timeline graphic on the website if you need reminding. All of the candidate statements are online as well on the RAC page on the Nominet website, so you can read through what they've put up there as well.
And we'll have a look at how we might be able to share contact details. And in terms of secret ballot or confidential, director elections are secret. Is that right? So UKRAC elections, we don't know who's voted for who.
No, we don't know who's voted for who.
No,
that is
we do not get that.
Your business.
Okay, John, you've got your
One
hand
member,
up.
one vote, right? Just to be clear.
One member,
yeah, one member,
vote,
one vote.
secret.
Just a question from John Richards. Is or are all the members going to be circulated and asked them to take part in this vote? Because I'm not quite sure whether it's just the people on this meeting or all the members are going to be sent the information to have a vote.
All members.
No, yeah, all members get
all
the vote.
members to the voting contact email that you have provided us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
thanks to Rex for dropping that link in there where you can see the timeline and the statements.
Okay. Okay, quick look at the chat. Oh, can I answer Dan's question? Where is Dan's question? Dan, do you have a question? So this is secret and Nominet won't know who voted for who. Yes, it's exactly the same as NED director elections. We do not know who votes and who votes for who. Okay.
Some
and on that
people are
note,
public. Some people do tell us, and some people
oh, yeah.
are public about their support, but obviously we don't know whether that's true or not.
So obviously some members may tell us in conversation, I have voted for, but we don't get that information from CES.
To be clear.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we are done. We're very efficient given the number of candidates. So I will just say thank you very much to all of you for joining us today. Please vote, because I think, you know, the UKRAC has a really great opportunity to make a massive difference. So I'm really looking forward to working with whoever gets elected, and I'd really appreciate members obviously taking the time to vote. Rowena, when does voting close? That's another good date that we probably need to mention.
22nd of July.
Okay, 22nd of July. So open tomorrow and closes on the 22nd of July. So good luck to all the candidates. Thank you very much for putting yourselves forward and for volunteering to give your time up to help. And thank you to all you members for joining us. I would usually do a plug for another member event, but I can't think of one, so I'm going to let you all go. You are off the hook. Okay, thanks very much, guys. Hope to see you all soon, and good luck to everyone. Bye.